share the screenshot or this presentation to everybody afterwards. So you can either take screenshots of it or write it down, but I'll also make it available to everybody as we go through. The land chain analysis. Now, when we're talking back in 1600, 1700, and your study can be time-based. It can only be 1 decade or a couple of years. But if you're going really, really far back, that land that one person owned, probably dozens of people now own. So you can actually do a land parcel, and then see who owns and who built homes. In one of my studies that I have, the census says dirt road 1, dirt road 2. That's really tough because I don't have the street. So I've got to map it out, and I use the land chain analysis to do that. The neighbor tracking and the migration. Large places cause problems. It's record overload. So just think about my example in New York City. If you went to New York City records and you want the 1950 census for all of New York City, I don't know how many people would be able to help you with that to get it done in your lifetime. It's just too much. And what value is it bringing to your study? Because at that point, there's so many different people and so many different cultures. But instead, if you focused on maybe Little Italy or a smaller area to try and trace maybe your ancestors, or you just got a curiosity about that area, then that's another way to bring it down to a smaller level where it makes sense, as opposed to throwing a bunch of records of a large, large area at the wall and making it near impossible to come up with synopsis and scenarios from it. But if you took like a street in Little Italy, you can trace family lines. You could probably figure out some of the names, the similar names. The boundary chaos is there. Kind of mentioned that already. And the shallow results are mentioned, but you will get burnout. I don't know about you guys, but every month I look to see what WikiTree projects have challenges. And I feel like I need to do every single one because they're so interesting. But I need to get back to my one place study as well, and I'll get burnout. And if I leave my one place study, I have a tendency to not come back for about 2 or 3 or 6 months. So keep that in mind. What large places are just too big. Okay, let's start with those who do not have one place studies right now and are interested in doing it. An excellent starter. And I want you to think about your own life. And now, Lisa put out there something very, very interesting. She's never been to the place that she studies in England. She lives in Canada, but she thought the place was interesting. That's a way to go about it if you want to learn more about the place. Maybe you do want to document that family home that is there or not there, or probably going to be torn down because nobody lives there. Then now's the time to start small. Who had block parties when you were kids? That would be a great thing to do a street study. Those are all really, really interesting ways to attack a one place study. And unlike one name study, you can have as many one place studies as you would like. And I'm going to show you some really, really cool ways that happens with what WikiTreers have done to link them together. One census enumeration district, I'm going to show you towards the end, I'm going to show you some tricks on what I have done to quickly capture the 1950 census for my little 1 square mile town that has 12 pages in the census for 1950, and how I'm going to document the individuals with a really quick and easy trick. And here's some examples that you have. I hope they're here. Somebody mentioned on G2G that they have a church that they do. They're not part of the project. And I hold that thought because the next presentation, I'll tell you why it's a benefit to be part of the project. They just went and created a space page, but I'm going to show you why you can still keep that information, but convert it over to one place study on WikiTree. A settlement, so it doesn't have to be current or modern. It can be further back as well. And you can limit it for towns, for a date. If you only want to research the 1880 to 1920 of XYZ town, we can lock it so that your study will only accept profiles with those dates. And the reason people might do that is they're doing some hardcore brick walls or DNA analysis going into that. So small projects, you feel a sense of accomplishment, right? You're getting, you can see it done. You can see more to it. It builds that momentum and it wants you to continue. Now, a medium size, let's say you may already have a one place study or you want to go a little bit bigger. So medium size is still okay. And I put the word advanced. I probably should not have, because it's not advanced in skills. It's still the same skill. It's advanced in the time required for it. So if you want to do an entire small town, and I'll take so I've got 1 square mile town that is my study that I'll show you in just a bit. The starter would have been a street or a house. I could have done the house or the street. So that would have been a starter. Now, if I want to do the entire 1 mile town, then this would be considered more medium size. And again, advanced is only because it's going to take more of your time. Research is still the same. If you want to do an early period, a very early period, sometimes that's a little bit more advanced because you got to dig in really old records. It's not going to be a quick, easy click a leaf and you get the record type of thing. As Lizzie's got a watershed, if you're doing a valley or watershed community, and I know I'm seeing Lisa's face, and I know Canada has a lot of those as well. So those are other things that they'll take a little bit more time to dig in and find the people and find the research for those. So typically a medium sized one place study is 500 to 1,500 households, not people and not profiles, households. That's a big distinction because if I say 1,500 households, let's assume there are 4 people per household. So so don't think that that's 1,500 profiles. That would be larger. You could also do multiple churches. In my one little square mile town, I have 4 churches. I live in the South in the US, so kind of explains. So, and I also have 3 cemeteries. So that's kind of more advanced because it will expect multi-year research, depending on how you want to do it. For me, I wanted pictures of every tombstone. That's going to take me a while. And then I want to upload it into WikiTree and I want to match it to profiles. And if the profiles aren't in WikiTree, I got to create those profiles. And then I got to connect them and link them to their families. And then I've got to connect them to the big tree. So when I say the word advanced, it's more or less advanced meaning more of my time. The research will pretty much be what you guys are already used to. And if you have family records, even better. Okay, too big. Can't, we can't create these. It's impossible to do them solo and feel accomplishment from them because they're just too big. So modern counties, large cities, we kind of talked about that, cannot do whole states. Migration corridors, if you have the gold rush from Georgia, where the gold rush kind of started in the United States and went to California, that whole migration, too large. It's just too large to do it. Thousands of people in multiple courthouses, because we get our records from the courthouses. If the boundary changes have changed so drastically, and I know Germany has a struggle with this as well, it's untenable and it's unmanageable trying to find the records for this. So at that point, it's not really a one place study. You're doing a large scale institutional research, and that's tough. I mean, this is what researchers spend their whole careers doing. And we want to have fun with our genealogy. We don't want to be stuck or feel like we're tied to the computer because we're not getting our one place study done. So this is kind of why we don't do the really, really large scale one. And, I mentioned Appalachia, so, I'm going to mention this. A quilt. So if you think about a quilt, my town that I have, my town is not one big square. My town is little squares that make up the entire quilt. You put them together piece by piece, just like you're sewing. You can't get that quilt done all at once. You got to do it piece by piece by piece, and together they will build your one place study. and you'll get to see a lot of really, really cool things come out of it. You can research your DNA with the one place study. You can research family names with it, brick walls. There's just so much to do with it. Okay. I call it microhistory. I don't know if that's a word, but I call it microhistory. So you remember I mentioned that little street, like maybe Little Italy? If you go way, way back, can you imagine this is a pioneer town starting, or Little Italy, or any little street anywhere in the world back in the day? And this is where you could start. Or you could start right now with you. If you're doing your town, you can start with you. That's kind of what I did. Started with me. I expanded my family. I went to my neighbors, and I keep going out and out and out. And that's kind of what this picture represents. This is heritage work. This isn't busy work. This is like getting to be a fun genealogist, finding photos, asking people, talking to neighbors, talking to historical societies about, do you have any photos I can use? Do you have any documents to use? Just today, earlier today, I was at the courthouse. We get a tax break. So I had to go fill out some forms to get a tax break. But while I was there, I don't have the full deeds for online for this place that I'm standing in right now because they're not digitized. You can find some of them online. So I went and just like literally 15 minutes got the deeds. Copies of the deeds cost me $1 a page in my place, but got the copy of the deeds. And I didn't know these people. I didn't have them in my one place study because I didn't see them online in a census, and I didn't see them on a deed search or a family search deep search. I didn't see them there. So on 20th day of July 1953, my little bungalow here in Appalachia sold for $2,800 to people I didn't even know existed for my one place study. So how cool is that? It took me little time at all. And if you are ever concerned or curious about how to do it, most county courthouses are so easy. They love helping you. And then you can get the full deed. This is public record. So you're able to use it and reference it as a source. So once we're talking about the very first thing, forgotten families. I had no clue about these people, women's identities. Now I have a name. I have 3 names for this woman. I guess one is a middle name, but I feel like one is a maiden name. It's Mildred Venix Kane. So I feel like one could be a maiden name. I haven't looked her up, but I'm going to. I mean, that's a pretty unique name. So that was able to find that. Children who died young, a lot of times back in the day, before birth certificates and death certificates were issued or required, especially if there were farms, children were born on the farms and buried on the farms, and nobody knew unless it was registered in a Bible. So this is where you can reach out also to friends and family and community connections. So this is really a fun way to look at either your heritage or a place that you're interested in. You could be looking at DNA, you could be looking at brick walls to try and document, or just simply you remember having fun as a kid on the street, playing with other friends. And you want to document that. You have photos. Because once we're gone, our stories are gone. I guarantee you my kid won't remember one story I had from childhood that I told them. So they're gone. So recommended one place study units and pages is, take example, one mountain community, and I'm small, not the whole Swiss Alps, one church, and track their membership throughout the years. That alone, depending on the church, could be thousands of profiles. So don't worry about the profiles, worry about the size of the study as we started. So you're talking about the size of the studies you started is just one church, one building. So don't worry about the thousands of profiles that you might have to do. One childhood home or one street. These units create a meaningful history. They'll mean something for those that are searching for this information, cousin bait, or those who want to help, or those who lived in the same area. I wish somebody would do a one place study of the town I grew up in. I would be pleased as heck to see that happen. So the whole thing with one place studies and why too big is too big. We want to stay small. We want to stay focused, finishable. Now, I question this. If you time lapse it, it's finishable. But in theory, this town that I'm standing in and where you guys are at right now will continue well after we're gone. So one place study is never truly finishable, but it could be to your standards or to your particular interests that you're going through. So you want to tell the whole story. You want to be community centered and tell your entire story. And let me stop share for just a second. Do we have any questions about the size?
Yoke brought up an interesting thought that you could do the settler, like if there was an original 15 or 20 settlers of Los Angeles, you could do a time sensitive of those original settlers versus an entire, and then limit your time frame so that it would be small enough to actually have meaning and be usable.
I love your example because chances are those settlers had multiple families throughout the years. And that's a way to kind of also tie in one name study, even though we're separate. So I love that idea, Donna. And I want to introduce Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I didn't see you join. Jeffrey is here as well, and Jeffrey is part of the project. So Donna and Jeffrey and I, if you have any questions after the fact, please reach out to any of us. We're all able to help as we go along. Let me close out my screen here, and I found, and I was talking with Jeffrey, so good timing, Jeffrey, about this earlier. There's a lot of people that say they have one place studies on WikiTree, but we don't have them in our records, in our list. And it was confusing at first to me. I couldn't understand why. So I think that a lot of people don't realize either one, that we're a project, or two, understand why should I bother going through a project to tell me what to do. And I'm going to tell you, we really don't do that. That's the good news. But I'm going to show you why should you choose WikiTree for your one place project. I've got one really, really big reason, but I'll save that to the end. Okay. This one has a lot more text, so I apologize for that. This one's, let me just set up my screen a little bit better. Okay. So it's a perfect match. WikiTree's free. Boom. That's the big thing. You don't have to go and create a website and pay for a website URL and pay for extra fees if you put too many photos up, things like that, and too much. It's free. Period. It's free. That's the number one reason. It's probably my second favorite reason, but it's the number one reason. It's collaborative. You've got a global community here. So, Lisa, I'm going to pick on you again because you got a perfect example. She's in Canada. Her one place study is in England. Jeffrey, you're sitting in Minnesota, right?
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois. Okay, and your one place study is in Norway.
Yeah.
So we got a global community that you could reach out to if you had a question, you need documents, photographs of maybe a home or a street. We've got a global community here that you can reach out to. Free. Well, I have not yet found a WikiTreer that would charge me to go take a picture. I mean, they might, if they have to pay for documents at a courthouse or something like that, they might ask you to just reimburse them. But for the most part, I know when people come to me, I'm like, sure, I'm going to be down in that area or this area and I can take a picture. So that's one of the beauties of WikiTree. We're free. It's global. You get free help, free research from this global community. And you might find that you share ancestries. So if Jeffrey probably already knows everybody in his one place study, but if he's like, well, here's this house and here's this person and here's this record, then you can connect them and say, I am CC7. I connect to them through 7 degrees or less. So that's kind of cool if you're looking for brick walls and DNA research as well. So the one place study is researching all the individuals in your study, whatever you choose, a house, a church, a farm, a street, a small town, a community. So it builds this comprehensive history as well. So now you're not only a genealogist, you're a historian. How cool is that? I mean, that is just really, really cool that you're going to come together and be both on WikiTree. And again, it's free. So together, we can reconstruct or construct, depending how you look at it, your entire communities and their stories. A lot of people do have space pages out there. So if you have a space page out there and you're calling it a one-place study, but you have not set it up through the project, and you would like to set it up through the project, contact one of us, Donna, Jeff, or me, and we will help convert it to a one-place study. You still own it. You still have all management of it. We're just going to convert it and give you some extra tips and tools along the way. And that's what this presentation is about. So it's about building that community through the collaboration and using WikiTree's robust genealogy tools, Sourcer. We all use probably Sourcer, and then WikiTree browser extension allows us to see how many degrees or how close we are, or shared ancestors that we have through this community. And again, completely free for all users and researchers. This is the one thing that I love. And when I'm at Roots and people come to me and say, why should I do WikiTree? After I say it's free, and you can bring your entire family over, the next thing I say is the preserving part, preserving local history. I don't want to tell you how many times I've had a computer crash. And with that crash or cell phone loss or broke, or those photos went with it. This was before I decided to use the cloud. I have 4 cloud services because I'm so paranoid I'm going to lose copies of documents and old photos and things like that, and just modern photos. So I have 4 cloud services, but you know what? I could upload that information, tombstone pictures, old family farm pictures, pictures of videos even. You can link to videos, create a YouTube site free and link to the video. You can do a PDF document. My grandfather wrote a very small book of his life. It was typed down on a really old typewriter, put it in a 3-ring binder. I can convert that. I can scan and convert to PDF and upload it to WikiTree. And all the pictures you want, you can put up on WikiTree. And I'm going to say the magic word, free. I'm telling you, I have 4 cloud services that are not free, and they're not necessarily, one of them's cheap, but the other ones are not. So all free for your historical one-place study photos or documents. And this creates an opportunity for somebody else to see it. At Roots last year, I was talking to somebody about this particular topic, and they said they had a Bible. Could they scan the Bible pages in and put it up on WikiTree? Yeah, absolutely. Come to find out, 8 months later, that person got an email from an existing WikiTree that says I needed to confirm that there were 2 miscarriages or 2 babies that died young. I needed to confirm that. And the only confirmation I had, besides a verbal, was from that Bible record. But if they hadn't put it up on WikiTree, that person would have never known about it. So again, free. I just want to point out one of my favorite words. Okay, so we already talked about what a one-place study is, so I'm not going to go over this again in detail. But I do want to mention, because this kind of ties in to Lisa and Donna, they don't have to be your ancestors. You have no relation to these people at all. And actually I'll pick on Kathy Nava, but she has a museum one. And that's kind of cool to do a museum. Steve over in England has several landmarks that he has documented. And how cool would it be through the times to see the changes of the scenery, the area, the clothing of any people that might be in the picture as you document landmarks or museums. So it does not have to be only ancestors. If you have an interest in something, I know that we have a very prolific one-place study member. His name is Stuart, and he likes to do castles. That's one of his things. He really is fascinated with castles since he was young. And he also did the Queen Mary, the ship that's in Long Beach, I believe, California, because he remembered sailing it as a young child. And that was a memory for him that brought him back. And he wanted to document it with pictures. Okay, so if you have a space page, or if you don't have a space page and you want to do a one-place study, why do I really need to go through this project? Why does WikiTree want me to go through a project when I can just go up and say, click, add new space page? Well, or again, we're talking about WikiTree, the global tree. We're going to give you some tools to use on your study page. It's all public, it's all free, but the categories is the big thing. Categories, and I will ask Jeffrey and Donna, the categories to set up a one-place study are not always super clear and easy, right?
True.
Sometimes they get a little tricky because we want to match the countries. So somebody asked recently for a one-place study of a place, but the category in WikiTree said it was a parish. And I would have just created it without the parish if I hadn't researched the categories system within WikiTree. Why is that important? It's important because if we can match your category that's of the location already on WikiTree to your one place study, that gives you an instant bonus of getting profiles into your study. And I'll show you a little bit about that. But we also have project support. You've got questions. If you did an oopsie and deleted some code and you can't get it back, if you need sticker help, anything like that, we're always here to help you. But we don't manage your studies. We're on your study as a project, but we don't manage your studies. It's all yours. And I can guarantee you, in all the years I've been leader of One Place Study, I don't dig down and see a lot of people's work, and I've never ever once said you can't do that. The study's yours. That's the main thing I want you to know is study is all yours. Okay. And if you want, you can ask other WikiTreers to join in. There's for the town that I'm working on, I quickly started adding profiles and I saw one WikiTreer had added a large amount of them. I reached out to her, come to find out her maiden name is she is related to the person who used to own the place I'm standing in many years ago. She's a third cousin, something like that. But she added a lot of profiles. So I asked her, would you like to help with my one place study? And she said, sure. So there's half my work, right? If you look at it that way, half my work is done. So what do you need to do to start a WikiTree one place study? The very first thing you do, don't create the space page, just reach out to us. And it's on our project page, and I'll show you all that information. Just reach out to us. You want to check and make sure that the study doesn't already exist. If you have like a childhood home or street or church, something like that, I guarantee you it probably does not exist. Some locations do exist already that you might be interested in, but it would be rare. I think it would be rare. So chances are, if you have a study in mind, you're going to get to set it up. If there is one already in place, just message them and say, hey, can I help? I guarantee you, all of us that have one place studies want help. Guarantee you. We are not we're not hoarders or lairds. We want help because ideally it'll never be finished in my lifetime. It'll keep going and going and going. If you see a large study, which will be rare, but if you see a large study, you can reach out to us and say, I don't want to do New York or the Bronx. I want to do that street in Italy. Can you help me with that? Because I can't do a large study and WikiTree won't do a really large study. Just reach out to us and we'll help you get that set up. Okay, so study's not on WikiTree, but you want to create it. What do you need to do? You can either go up on G2G from our study page. Every project has a box on their main project page, and there's a join link to G2G. And that's our bulletin board for anybody who's new. The G2G is our bulletin board. You click on that, read the instructions that are there on that post, and click the answer button. This is pretty much every project. This isn't just us. And tell us what you want to do. Alternately, if you want to, you can go ahead and email us that. It's easier to do G2G, I think. If you are already a one place study project member, skip G2G. Just email us because we already have you set up in the system. So if you already have a one place study through our project, just email us. If you're brand new to the project, no studies, brand new to WikiTree, then go to the G2G post and I'll show you where that's at. What we need to know is where the study is. So tell us what it is, where it is, give us as much detail as you can. If you want to give us a brief description, especially if it's a building or something like that, let us know. Just don't say, the Baptist church in Lawrenceville, Georgia. because there's probably 50 of them. So you give us as much details as possible and we'll research it. And if we have any questions, we'll get back to you. But otherwise, next thing you'll see from us is here's your study. Have fun. Now, nesting, the categories, this is what we do behind the scenes. When we create the study, we create a lot of code behind it that includes your sticker and your categories to match the location in your study. So we also give you the One Place Study badge, which will open up our Discord. If you're in Discord, I highly recommend, if you have questions or just want to chat or want to show off your study, go to Discord. We like seeing the show offs too. I love seeing what people do because I think you guys are the most creative people I've seen with One Place Studies. The project is going to be a co-manager of your study, but that's just so we can help easy. We don't go in, we don't do your records for you, we don't fill out your study pages, we give you a bare bones study page and let you create it however you wish to create it. What we do give you, we ask that you keep on the page, and again, it's bare bones. But from there, what you do with it is on your own, and I'm going to show you some really, really cool studies as well. And then we will ask for a request for any that are not One Place studies. If you want to convert over, we'll ask that you have us on the study page so we can convert it over. And hold that thought for the conversion and why that's important. So these are just records, right? Everybody's used to searching them anyway for profiles. Well, it's kind of the same for studies. So you can search for different things to put on your study page. Your face page, your study page, think of it almost as a profile. You want to have some sources because this isn't a town you just made up. So sometimes you have the town website. That's a good thing. You could add cemetery, links to cemeteries, hopefully already on WikiTree. There, school yearbooks, be very careful about copyright, but you can link to them, especially if you're using Sorcerer from Ancestry. Land records, you can go to your town's courthouse and get land records, or a lot of times you can go to your location's jurisdiction, whether it's a courthouse. If you're in Europe, there might be town parishes. You can go to your jurisdiction and ask for an old map that you can photocopy. They will a lot of times photocopy, and you can digitize that. I know that for US, I go to the NARA site, the National Archive site. I look up the census records, and each census record has a map, a really old map that I can use on my study. So a couple different things, but just think of your study page truly as a profile in a way. You're profiling the location. And just as on WikiTree, we all signed an honor code, you need to have sources. You say you'll source and try to make a good profile. Same thing with the study page. You're going to source as much as possible. Some of the times the sources become a little touristy, but that's a study, right? That's a location. So that's fine. There's no problem with that at all. Okay. Give me 1 second. So the categorization, when we give you a study, we're going to give you a sticker that's unique just to your study so you can put it on profiles. Now, everybody likes stickers, so keep that in mind. So you can use the sticker or the category. We give you both the same purpose. You do not need to do both. If you do a sticker, it will automatically put your profile in the category. If you do a category, it will automatically put your profile in the category. So you don't need to do both. And you do also want to add the location categories. So I'll give you an example. I've talked about enough. So my One Place study is the town of Tiger, Georgia. One Place study. And that is the category, Tiger, Georgia, One Place study. But I also want to add possibly Tiger, Georgia category. They're two different things. One is a location that belongs to the Georgia project, and then one is called the One Place study that belongs to the One Place study project. And what I'm trying to do is capture the location from two different places. And we've shortcut that a little bit for you, but it auto groups. And the reason why you want to do that is, again, brick walls, trying to find the died young, women that we don't know their last name at birth, or DNA research. And this kind of talks about not everybody appreciates stickers. So if you find that somebody removes the sticker that you put on their profile, or you can ask them first if you'd like, because a lot of times if somebody did a profile in a location, they did 100 profiles in a location. So you can reach out to them and say, would you mind if I add my one place study sticker to your profile? I love stickers. I love them, but not everybody does. But you can always add the category. So always feel comfortable adding the category. And this middle part is really important. So as Kathy has the museum, we don't have a location for that. There's not a Tiger, Georgia museum category in WikiTree. There might be a Tiger, Georgia museum one place study, but not the location itself, because it's a museum. It's a building. It's not a actual city, town, or location or street. So that's okay. We still work with that. Categories still work because you're going to use your one place study, and I'm going to still use my Tiger, Georgia. I just don't have a Tiger, Georgia museum study, and that's fine. And again, we're going to use this quilting analogy. So at the end, you've got your one place study, and now we're going to add into the quilt. Think of WikiTree as the backing on the quilt. So you're adding all the squares with your information, and then the backing of the quilt holding it together is WikiTree. Free. Did I mention free? Free cloud, free photo storage. Did I mention that? So the smaller studies become big stories. And again, my little town, 1 square mile, I will probably conservatively have, throughout the years of this town, I'll probably conservatively have 4,000 profiles from everybody who maybe lived here, passed through here, worked here, had a business here, and on and on and on. So even though I've got a 1 square mile study, my profiles are going to be a lot more. And why do they matter? Why should you do it? They're fun. They're kind of interesting. They're kind of cool, especially if you're digging into your own family history. I love to see when people pick a town that they know and they love, or they're trying to find something. They're trying to break a brick wall. So it's the local heritage, and a lot of times your local historical societies will love you very much for doing this. And if you give them credit, a lot of times they will let you use their historical photos as well. So keep in mind, become friends with your local historical society. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them you're not making any money off of this. WikiTree's not making any money off this. You're just trying to give them information. And you remember when I mentioned that your one-page study page should have sources as well? Include them. Include a link to the Historical Society. And then again, why you should choose WikiTree. I know this sounds really corporate, but it's not. It's true. The global collaboration. I cannot stress that enough. If you're working on a larger area or area away from you, or maybe house you were born in, but you've moved several countries or states away, you can always reach back to somebody in that area. So the global reach and the free access is really, really big. And I will tell you that one of the biggest questions at Roots Tech for WikiTree, they're like, oh, one tree, anybody can work on a profile, anybody can work on one name study. Because we signed the honor code, we have that source accountability. We all agreed when we signed the honor code that we would source our profiles. And that's what makes, I think, WikiTree different. Okay, start small. I promise you, start small. If you start with a house, you'll come back to me and say, I want the house next door. That's great. Or if you start with a house and you say, I want the whole street. Let's just do a street. That's great. We'll do that, and we'll help you link everything together. Or if you get the street and you say, you know what, I want the whole little town. That's even better. Just don't go big, because you'll get frustrated. You'll get way, way too frustrated. And when you start studies, if you have any questions about your studies, you need any needs on your studies, go to GGG and ask for help. Show off your study in Discord on GGG too. That really is a cool way to get more people involved. Every Wednesday, I share a study of the week. And sometimes I get questions that are like, oh my gosh, I lived there as a kid, or oh my gosh, I got married there, or something like that. And they never knew the study was there. So they join in and they help. Okay, so any questions about why you should come to WikiTree or why you should come to the One Place study to have us create your project or what we do when we co-manage with you? Any questions like that?
Can I bring up, how about I bring up the questions in the chat
That
first?
would be great.
Some of those are fit that. So Margie said that microhistory is a word,
Oh,
and it's
good.
a genre of history focusing on small units of research, such as an event, community, individual, or settlement. So perfect. Um, Paul was asking about public records as sources. Is there a concern about privacy? And
Yeah. I would not
my
do, yeah, I would not do recent. Like you'll notice, like I said, 1953. This is a public record. And usually what I do is I look to see the person has to be deceased because I don't do living profiles. We don't do living profiles without permission on WikiTree. That's a no-no. But I'll look to see if they're deceased. If they're recently deceased, I don't enter it unless it's my own family and I make that choice myself. But since this was bought in 1953, and I'm going to assume that she was probably could be minimum age 2025, and that's probably too low. She's probably older than that. Chances are she's passed on, and I could add her to WikiTree. But I would never, Paul, that's a great question. I would never add a living person or a document of a living person. Even
yeah,
obituaries, I take out when they list the grandchildren and things, I don't list that. I take that out.
and my thought is too, is it's still a valid source. It doesn't mean you have to post this source, images
Yeah.
of this sort on there with any sensitive information, but it still is a valid source for what you can put on there.
And
So,
I'm looking in you could either if you scan it, I could black it out, I guess, and have the date, and that would be valuable because then somebody could go to the courthouse because it has a courthouse and address of that place, and they could go to that date and pull the record themselves. That's a good point, Donna.
mhm.
And-
Let's see. Let's see. And then Alice has said she wants to make sure her study is set up, and I said I noted
yeah.
it down and we'll check it out after the Zoom here. Um, let's see. And then Steve pointed out that one of the big advantages is that the one place study creates a category where a free space page doesn't. And then
Good
I said
point. Yeah,
also the one place study also goes into the directory of one place studies,
it
whereas a
does.
free page does not show up in a directory in a hierarchy like our
And
directory of one place studies
that is
does.
great timing, Steve, because when we show you this now, this is the project page. Let me just copy it real quick. This is our project page. Every WikiTree project has a project page. Let me get to my chat
And when you're
over
done
here.
pointing that out, we had
Yeah.
another question about that will stem off of that. So go ahead.
Okay. Let me bring my chat over here. Okay. So every project has a project page, a main project page, and then they could have one, five, or a bazillion pages behind it. But most of us are pretty good about organizing it. So we kind of tell you what it is, what the mission is, and what the goal is. But every project on WikiTree has this box of some sort. It shows you what the badges when you get a one place study and become a member of a project. In every one of them, list how to join. So by clicking on this join post, I come over here and this is what it says. It says if you already are a member, you can skip to step 3. You can read, but the one thing that I noticed that when people come to join posts, they don't read the top. They just hit answer, but definitely read the top because each project has different requests and different reasons for giving information. So we list out what we need, and then always hit the answer button. Avoid hitting comment button because comments are hidden after they're read because we can't respond to you with a comment, but we can respond to you with an answer. So here's one where somebody said they were interested in the hamlets, a few hamlets that they wanted created. And this is what it's going to look like. When we set up the study, we reply with this long reply saying, here's your space page, here's your category page. As Steve mentioned, we give you a category for every profile you find that's applicable. You can add, or the sticker, one or the two. And we also talk about the directory, the one place study directory. So hold that question down. Let me come back over to the directory. Remember, the very first step was to see if your one place study request is already on WikiTree. There's a couple different ways you can come here, one place study by type and location. Some people find this easier to do. Let me come down to United States. And I'm going to click on California. And I can say, oh, I wanted to do the ship, the RMS Queen Mary, but it's already taken. Well, let me see if I can do maybe Venice. Nope, it's already taken. So if you see a study here, it's already taken in the categories for the state. But trust me, chances are your study is out there waiting for you to create it. This is, since I mentioned Kathy, this is Kathy's study. This is the category that she has, and she can put the workers, the people involved, the builders of the museum. She can do whatever she wants with it. That's completely up to her. Okay, and then the other thing that I like to do, let me come back over, is the members. So we looked at the one place study by type and location. That's the easiest to see if your study locations are there. But I like to look at the members and then drill down into the particular area.
Okay, this is perfect because the question was from Jane, who says she has 3 studies that show up in the study directory, but she doesn't show up as a member, I believe she's saying.
Interesting. So we'll have to
Yeah,
research that and
yeah.
see what might have happened. And I don't know. I'm just going to guess is it maybe was maybe they were converted, or maybe it was just accidentally not here. So it doesn't show in the member, but it shows in the main.
Right. So
In the main
should I
location.
get Jane's member number?
Yeah.
What would be that most helpful thing if
Yeah, I
Jane
think
gave us her member number?
the member number, and then
Okay.
we can try and look it up from there. And we'll get back to you, Jane, I promise. Give us less than 24 hours. We'll get back to you.
So yeah, if you can post it in the chat, Jane, I will mark it down and we will look at that
And
after the meeting.
almost everything that I put in the presentation is here. First steps. So on the main project page. And I will tell you, as a project leader, and I think most of us as project leaders, we put the things that we use the most often or we want you to use the most often as tabs. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, let me head over to some examples. You guys excited to see some really, really cool examples? I mean, they're going to blow you away. Don't get nervous. If you have a page, a one place study page out there and you haven't done anything with it in 20 years, don't get worried. This just gives you inspiration or different little ideas you can pick up on it. After this Zoom, I will put links on that G2G post that mentions the Zoom. I will put the links to all these there. So you have them handy. So you don't have to worry about grabbing them now. You can just enjoy the one place studies. So starting off, when you come to us and you say, please give me a study, I want a study of Hilton St. Mary Dorset one place study. This is what we do. It's not necessarily quick or easy, by the way. Sometimes we got to do some research behind the scenes. So we're volunteers and we have in real life. Always love when Jeffrey joins the Zooms because he owns a yarn store, and it makes me want to leave the Zoom and go crochet. But he's actually at work right now, so he's kind enough to come in. This is his business, so we all have in real life. So give us a little bit of time. If we don't answer it, in the first 12 hours, give us a bit. We'll get there. But this is what we give you. This is it. This is the blank study. It looks, we fill in the geography for you because we have to for our code behind the scenes, and that's it. That's all we give you. You know why? We want you to personalize it, make it your own. We want you to have fun with it and enjoy it. We give you the sticker code as well. And then all these categories, this is the part we research the most. All these categories are put into place and we make sure they're accurate. So when you're ready to go and adding profiles, you're ready to go. And I will just come over. So here, let me come over to the Hinton category. This is a Hinton category page. And this one is available for adoption, by the way. So we have a few profiles. We have 11 profiles in it. And this, I guess Hillary was nice. And she put in, because this is not Hillary's. This is not Hillary's one place site, but she was nice and she put in the location. And you notice I said there's a one place study category, but there's also a location category. So it's kind of cool to put in both. You don't have to, but it's kind of cool to put in both. So I just wanted to show you again. This is what we give you. It's blank. It's what you can do. And the reason why I'm showing you this is wait till you see these studies. I am so blown away and amazed by everybody's study. Let me go ahead and close that. Okay. So this is one of my early favorite studies because Trish is really great at creating graphics and logos. So you don't have to have that basic graphic. This is our logo. You don't have to have it. You can customize your logo. And this is one of my favorites because I just love a red barn, and it's got like the sun in the background and a cow. To me, that's pretty cool. That's pretty heaven. So I always love this, but I also like what she does with it. So we had all the geography, if you remember, down in a line. Well, she's kind of put it this way. And the only request we have is everything we give you on that blank page, you got to keep, because there's code behind the scene that helps you out. But you can display it differently. It's just got to stay on the page. So you can definitely display it differently. And then she gives you the whole state of Kentucky, tells you that this is the county, but she's pointing out here with the county, this little tiny town she grew up in is there. So I thought that was a real nice extra touch that she put in. She also leads you to the link for Wikimedia, that's where the source of the document or the graphic came from. And she gives you a little bit of history. You can rename things. You don't have to always use what we use. You can rename them. The population map. And here we talked about the districts. So she's got it where these are little clickable links that you can click on and find your districts. She gives you statistics on the age and gender. Tells you the oldest person to live in the precinct, and then her family. Just interesting things. I would have never thought to do this. I would have never thought to look at the oldest person, but I thought that was so cool when I saw her list that. Gives you this marital status. And these are interesting things as you're looking through brick walls or DNA, or just researching and wanting to document the town. And she gives you the occupation. She created these graphics on her own. Somewhat very easy to do. But Trisha is a whiz. Trisha's really great at this. And then she's pulling this data from the census. She's not making this up. She's not guessing. This is all actual data from the census. So really, really pretty cool. And then she lists the cemeteries in the area, and she has a source of the town on Wikipedia as well as some maps. So that is Trisha's. And I think it's just really, really cool how she kept all her information, but just displayed it a little bit different to match the theme. Okay, moving on. This one is actually a tad bit too big, but if you, like Donna had mentioned before, if you take this one and you time block it to just maybe a decade, then it probably is not too big. So this gives you a different idea. This is a completely different concept that Eric did for this one. Eric Weddington created this one. He wanted to focus on the Civil War for his. So he gave some maps, which are really, really great. And then you can see this is way too big, right? It comes too far. So he wanted to focus more on the Civil War. So that's what he's done. He's listed the regiments and the militia regiment, and then he lists some of the people that are clusters. And that cluster word, and I know Eric though, but that cluster word is code word in the back of my mind for DNA. So he's trying to track DNA through some of the most popular names and the larger names, or he could be trying to track DNA just from the names that he's interested in. He doesn't want to document maybe all the town. He wants to document his one place study with just those that have the larger families that intermarried and maybe have pedigree collapse. So that's a completely different idea for one place study that he's doing. And he constantly works on this. And these are some of his ancestors that he's worked through. And then he's included notables. That's kind of cool. If you all didn't know, most WikiTreers, or excuse me, most people that are not WikiTreers find WikiTree because of our notables. So if somebody's looking for Alexander Spotwood, he might do a Google search and come up with this study. He might come up with the Virginia Project or the Notables Project as well. So that gives us three different opportunities now where maybe we didn't have that, where we're finding ourselves in WikiTree in the Google search. And I mentioned farms. I wanted to mention this one. Ariel came to me to set up a study, and she said, I just have a humble family farm. I have three of them, just a humble family farm, right? Look at this picture. It's like, wow. Can I please have that humble family farm? But what she's done is she's added some of the documents, the count books, and this is account books for bailiffs. And this is a different way of that a different country has their sources. Sometimes I show you too much from the United States. So I wanted to show you outside. And she's doing the same thing that Trisha did. She's taking you with a map so you can see this is the larger area, but that little piece that she's working on is right there. She's done amazing work. Now, even though this is a small, humble farm, she's broken it down into profiles with farm connections by date. That just makes it easier to researchers, for you to see, for them to see. So it just makes it easier. So let me click on the 1700, and then she's got a list of profiles. Nothing fancy, not a table or anything like that. She just lists the profiles. And then she adds the sticker to each of these profiles as she goes. And again, you'll see that we have the one place study. And as we go down, it looks like she's done 156 in the category. She's done that either by adding the category to the profile or the sticker to the profile. And another thing I want to point out, remember I said she had multiple family farms? So this is how she linked them together. Just simple, real simple. Just added the link to say that you can go to this one, or the bold one is the one that we're on now. Just a real easy way to have multiple studies in one location and link them together. Okay, Donna, this is yours. Could you tell us a little bit about yours?
Okay, yes. So this is centered in Illinois, near Chicago. It's in the suburbs of Chicago, West Chicago, Batavia. There was about 70 to 75 families that were displaced by the eminent domain purchase of lands for the Fermi Lab, which is a lab that splits atoms. So
Oh,
if you're scientific, they have I guess they have made huge discoveries, and that was in 1967 that they acquired all of these farms. None of them by voluntarily, obviously, with the eminent domain, but they needed a place close to the airports, that type of stuff. So I have started with, there's still a lot to do, but most of these families are connected either by marriage or by blood relation. A lot of German immigrants, a lot of in that area, but I have a lot to go. but I have started to link them together, trying to show some of the family relationships. Um, but yeah, so that's what I've done with my study.
And
So on
this
the
is your
front page,
family, right?
yeah, that one's up my husband's family, and I've put all the people into a chart by they have, the site has site names, so there's like 75 sites. And then I'm trying to link all the families that were affected by the site that they lived on or that their family lived on. So, but as you can tell, I have a lot to go. It's only 75 families, but as you know, it ends up being a lot more than 75 people. So,
It does. And you know, keep in mind as you say, it might be a lot to go, but it's not a race. You know,
mm-mm,
you guys can take your time, and especially with something like this where the people were displaced, federal government
mhm.
displaced them, you do want to take your time because remember, we're building that quilt, that family story that we're doing. And Jeffrey, is he still here? I know
Yep.
he had. Oh, there we go. Good, good, good. I know you said you might have to come and go. Okay, this is your study. Please pronounce it for us.
Invik. Oh, you want the county?
I don't know.
Song, Song och Fjordarna.
Oh, okay. So it ends
So
like
it's
with an
the
A.
region of Sogn and the fjords. So that county was named because Nordfjords goes through the top, Sundfjord goes underneath it, of course, because it's the South Fjord and the North Fjord, and then Sogn is kind of in the middle.
See, this is why I love one place studies because I learn about places I would never expect to know or learn about.
Yeah,
Um,
so that first picture was the whole county, and you can see Invik is kind of in the upper right.
upper right. I'm looking. I'm looking.
Let me pull it up on my screen. It's hard to see.
I
That's a
know.
little. Yeah, so it is the green right
Oh, there
under
it
the
is.
light blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me close that down. There we go. Okay, so why did you create this study?
So I have a lot of family from that area, but I just thought after seeing the studies that Life has done on Solom in Telemark and the Valerie's done for Jurunford in Morgrunstad, which is not that far away from Invik, that it would be a fun little project.
To
I
do.
do
And
have family that still live kind of in that area. Um,
now, see, what I like that you did is you broke it down as well. So this is showing you, you know, again, I like to talk too much about the US census, but this is breaking it down with Norway census.
yeah, so each of the censuses are listed. I'm about, I don't know, I've got maybe about 20, between 20 and 25% done for all the ones that are listed.
But keep in mind, so this is one town, a small town, and we always say start small, but if these are the people listed, right, on
Yeah.
the census. And as
Yeah,
we
it's a little
know,
bigger than I probably should have started because there's three separate church parishes in that area, so I probably should have done a separate one for each one because that would have made the numbers about a third of that, which would have been a little bit more reasonable. But my eventual goal is to get the whole Northfjord done, so we'll see.
wow, wow, wow. But I'm really glad you mentioned that. So let's say that you guys did start a little larger. We said, okay, here it is. It's a little larger. You can come back to us and say, can I break it down into smaller bits? And we can do that and connect. We can get them all
Yeah.
connected together.
Yeah, and if you scroll further down the page, you'll see the farms, and each farm I did separate, and so I made categories, location categories for each of them, so that the parishes then are split up. So I've kind of been working on the Utvik parish lately, just to kind of narrow the focus a little bit.
But what's great about this is we give you the initial one place study category. If you want to go a little deeper into the location, work with either us or the location. So if you want to go create a category for a particular town, I could not do this. I would go to Jeffrey and say, can you, part of the Nordic project, help me out and create that? And again, that's that global community that we talk about as we go along. If there's not a location, a town listed in, the United States, we can probably help you out pretty quickly because that's where I'm based. But otherwise, if you have a town in a different location, a different country, I always check with that country or project for help. Or a lot of times they have the information already listed on how to create a category, but because I couldn't pronounce it, let alone probably spell it, Jeffrey. So that would be me. And then, so I just think that this is a different way of looking at farms, but it's right there. You have it all right there. So if Jeffrey was looking at trying to also add to maybe one name studies or anything like that, they could easily come in and link up. They could easily do that.
Yep.
I like your to-do list as well. And this is where a lot of us have put to-do list. We would love for people to help us. Okay, let me continue on. And Steve, this one is I will tell you everyone that Steve does is fabulous, but this one I wanted to show off specifically because this is personal to you. And even though it's called circus, I call it a street. So why did you create this?
Hi, Sandy. Yes, it is a single street, and as you rightly say, it's called Charleville Circus. It's a suburb of London, South London, and the reason I created it was where my childhood home was. So I've got lots of fond memories of the area. In fact, the house you see there it is my former childhood home. My parents purchased the house in 1957, a little before I was born. It's an interesting area when the street and the surrounding Victorian houses were built in the late 1800s. It was quite an affluent area because it was within the neighbourhood of the Crystal Palace, which was a huge attraction at the time. Um, where my parents purchased a house, this was post-war London, and the affluence had long gone. A lot of the buildings in the area were poorly maintained, so they purchased that house for roughly equivalent of $2,000. In now, of course, it's all changed.
Well, hold on one second. They purchased that house.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in pounds it was 1,750, so that roughly equates to $2,000. Um, Things had changed. I mean, they sold it in the 60s and moved out of London. But now, if you were to purchase that, probably in the region of 1 to 2 million, because demand has increased in that area. So anyway, yeah, I have fond memories as a child, and I was really interested to discover why the house was built, who lived there as well. That the way I approached this was um, first off, I described the general area. So I included maps prior to the street being built. As you can see there on the screen, it was formerly known as Brickfield. And then you can see underneath the map shows the development of the street. Even to the point of what was under the house, which was a railway line that ran from London to the coast. So that went directly. I remember as a kid we had a basement and you could hear the trains running underneath, which is a fond memory I have. So I've managed to, in my research, find all sorts of information from newspaper cuttings, some quite obscure information, but I included everything. I think it fits the category of an in-depth search, as you mentioned earlier, and it's ongoing. If I discover anything new, I can add to it, and that's the wonderful thing about WikiTree. You can start gradually, and it's an ongoing project. If you click the link there, 15 Charleville Circus, which was our property, that spins off to a free space page that just describes that property. So it's almost like a one place study within a one place study, although that is a free space page. So that just talks about the house itself, and you can see there, for instance, information that I gathered from census. Uh, Interestingly, you mentioned about the stickers. If you were to click on the servant that lived in the house, May Bradman there, if you click on her profile, you should see I've attached a sticker there, linking to the one place study. I like to imagine that one day somebody will be searching their ancestor. They may not know that she ever was a servant, but by landing on that page, there's a link to they can place very precisely a single property at a single point in time.
But you just, the thing that I like, well, besides, I like the placements that you have photos. I like that. I know you went and you really do a great job of reaching out to others for photos or looking at other places for photos. I love, if you guys saw anything I did last year for WikiTree on their LiveCast or for WikiTree Week, I talk about memories all the time. I love having memories listed as well. If you have a personal home or anything like that, add your memories. This isn't all hardcore research census data. Add your memories as well as you go through. But I just really, really love how you separate it out. You've got maps separated out so anybody could click on it and just look in. Very cheeky. I love this. Join us in completing the circle. I think that's great.
Well, I've only got 2 properties so far, so it's a big job.
But I love how you broke it down by date. And, to do that, if that's what you feel comfortable with, break it down by date, break it down by address, break it down by farms, create individual space pages. This is a street. So you can also break it down and create individual space pages for the entire history house. Right now, the reason, I love all Steve's work, and I always brag on you, Steve. You know that. But right now, where I'm sitting, I would love to have a space page history that you've done like that on this place here. I am struggling to find that information, but you know what? Everything I find, as you say, when you find more stuff, you add it. So everything that you find becomes a historical document. It might not matter to somebody today, might not matter if I sell the place tomorrow, but 100 years from now is going to matter.
I see what we're doing is creating a legacy for the future. When we've gone, I hope people stumble across this research. Somebody who lives in that house in 50, 100 years' time, if it still exists, be delighted to find this information.
I agree. And I mentioned before that we had to do some renovation, some major renovations on our house. So when we took down the drywall, there's original 125-year-old wood behind there. And so I put in a permanent marker just a few paragraphs about our story, about what I knew about the house. So if anybody has to bring that drywall down again, they'll get a nice surprise.
Yes,
And I've included pictures of that as well on my one place study. So you just, the memories mean a lot, the documentation and the photos. And Steve, you always do such a great job with that. Before I leave you, Steve, I want to, I don't believe it's this one place study. I believe it's a different one that you have, that you actually sent out postcards, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. In fact, it was this one.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was. Okay.
Yeah. I sent postcards to every property in that street, promoting one one place study and inviting them to get in touch. Sadly, nobody did. Nobody,
Oh, wow.
which was a disappointment. But it was the only way I could. I mean, I don't know who lives in these houses. I haven't
Yeah.
got their phone number. I haven't got their email address, but I have got their postal address.
Mhm.
So that was the only way I could contact them, was using the old-fashioned post.
And you never know, though. They might come across
Ah,
it or they
yeah.
might leave it for
One
the
day
next person. But if
we
you
live
don't
in hope.
try, yeah, if you don't try, it won't happen. So I just thought
Yeah.
that was a brilliant idea. And thank you for all the work you do on your one place studies. They are an inspiration to me. I look up to them, and whenever I need inspiration or a graphic idea, especially placement, I always go to your studies.
Oh,
So
I'm glad
thank
you
you.
enjoy them.
So no, I do.
Very
Thank you.
kind of you to
Oh,
say.
I'm going to show you two more real quick. This one is an example of Mark. Mark is also part of our one place study team. He couldn't make it tonight. He had an in real life meeting, but I wanted to show this just real quickly. Besides the fact I love his background. His background is fantastic. He's got one from Germany, but he doesn't have one from Germany. He has multiple ones that he's listed. And what he's done is they all are in the same area, but doing one big one would be too big. So he separated them out and this isn't fancy. It looks fancy. It's just a table with a color to it. And if you want anything like this set up for you, if you decide you're going to do one place studies or a bunch of them, you want to set up a bunch of them, we can do this for you. We can link. Mark did this himself, but we can link. And I just like it because he's listing some of the towns in this particular district that his ancestors have come from. It's just a different way of getting to all the information. And again, he does a really, really great job of showing the location. Remember, this is the information that we had that we asked that you keep on the page. And Trisha put hers all in a longer horizontal. Mark did his with a map. I'm going to steal that idea. So, Mark, when you're watching, thank you. And then he puts in the population table. This shows the population for this particular area, cemetery, and also a lot of resources. So if you need more data, he's actively working on this. I will tell you that I personally probably stretched him a little too thin. So he's coming back to his one place studies this month to work on them a little bit more. But I know that that's one of his favorite, but one of his favorites is also the Wittendorf one. And it just thought it was really cool. And then he also decided to link the Germany project. So like for me, I could link the United States and I could link the state of Georgia, for example, and maybe the county. Now, this one is a piece de resistance. Not that the any other ones are any better or worse or anything like that. This is a piece de resistance because of how many hours of work was put into the study. If you guys are ready. This is from my dear friend Swin. Swin is from Germany, project, lives in Germany. And the amount of time and categories and space pages he's created, he's taken Steve's idea, with the space pages and creating individual histories. He's got it same type of table, just an easy table. It's nothing fancy, just an easy table where he has links to the history that's going to hit a page on WikiTree. He's keeping us all within WikiTree. So this is his study history. And if you know Germany, you know they changed names and boundaries so much. So he felt that because of the time periods and locations, this would give you a little bit of idea when to call it this or when to call it that. So that's kind of his way of doing that. Now, if come back, he's got maps. Again, this is all keeping it within the WikiTree system, which I love because it means more cousin bait that we go through. And he has the maps listed. He's uploaded them. He's found the copies of them, and he's listed it per date. So you can kind of see what's going on maybe with your ancestors if you're in that area. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do like how he's starting to work. You can see he hasn't got all of them yet, but he's got World War I casualties from the area. He's got notable individuals. This is all separate space page hanging off, nesting off his main page. U.S. immigrants, those who left this area to come to the U.S. He's got that page. And like you said, this is effort. This is a lot of effort. He's got, look at all these dates. of immigration that he has. And then if he finds somebody, he adds them, or year of immigration not known. And then he also gives you the sources of where he found the information. So these look difficult. These are not pre-done. These are just a simple table where he's added text, color background, and a little image. This is not something we do for you. This is where I said, when we give you that blank page, you guys have fun and do with it what you would like. And I could keep going down. This is the history. Let me come back to his main page. If you look, he's got the farmsteads, he's got the buildings, he's got the historical map, he's got the population, the cemetery. If I come down to farmsteads by village, he lists those. He has the special buildings, and Steve has a fantastic space page, or one place study page. The space page lists historical, and what would you call those, Steve? They're not museums, they're landmarks that you do. Is it Holland Park? Yeah.
So, they're landmarks, yes.
What
Notable buildings.
so what Swin has done is he's added the pictures here. What Steve has done with his, he's also added the operating hours and the cost of admission, which I thought was really cool because you never know. So just any detail that you can think of that you want to add, this is completely up to you what you want to do. And then cemeteries are, and again, I'm not saying that any one place study is better than the other. I'm saying that Swint has put so much work, so many hours into this. And if you dig even deeper, you will find multiple space pages of census records for the area, and on and on and on. Okay, so that will be the tour pretty much of the fabulous space pages. I'm going to leave you guys with something really, really cool. I'm going to teach you just a little trick. This is not a great trick. It's just a quick trick, and it takes more time to do. And I keep saying I'll do a Zoom for One Place Studies just on this. So if you're interested, let me know. Maybe I'll do it. I told you I was doing a Tiger, Georgia One Place study. So I showed you what it looks like when I got it, just that bare bones ones. And I showed you all these fantastic ones. Now you're going to see one that's been about 30 days. So we create this category for you. We set this up and we create it for you. The couple cool things with new studies, if it's been about a year now, because Tiger is a location that's already existing on WikiTree. It already had a category. This has nothing to do right now with the One Place study. It's just a location in Georgia. Already has a location. What we started doing is adding this little thing called also known as. So if somebody doesn't know you have a study, which a lot of people might not, right? So Tiger is a 1 square mile. Somebody doesn't know you have a study, but they do know there's a category for Tiger, Georgia. If they put a profile in this location and we set up your one place study, this is another reason why it's good to go through our project. If we set up your one place study, it will automatically put it in the category for the one place study. So just, it sounds, Sandy, why you telling me this? I just saved you half the work. Otherwise, this would be double the work to try and go back and add the location and the study. A couple other things that I really, really like. This is brand new from Hacktober Fest. You can find from going to the category, you got to populate it. You got to populate your one place study category to get it here, either the category or sticker. I can see who's unconnected. So I have a few that are unconnected by just clicking this button. This is a WikiTree browser extension. I can see who's orphaned. Maybe I have somebody like the owner of this house, and that would be him. That I can say, oh, let me adopt his profile. That could be something cool. Missing parent. If you're doing Connect-a-thon, do a Connect-a-thon with your one place study. Fabulous way to dedicate time to get your information in. And then if you're doing DNA matches, I don't think I have any, but I don't have any with this town. So you can also check DNA matches to see if you have any DNA matches if you're trying to break a brick wall. This is the category. Now I'm going to show you, after showing you everybody's beautiful page, I'm going to show you my sorry little page. So this is about 30 days in. As Donna has said, as Steve has said, as Jeffrey said, there's a lot of work still left to do. I have mine broken down a little bit differently, but I'm going to steal some of those good ideas. I have the history, why it's called Tiger. I get into detail about the controversy of this town. This town had huge controversies about it. That's kind of why I wanted to do it. The population, I got a few notables. So in the 2000 census, there were 316 people living here in 137 households. I'm going to come down. This is the trick. Okay, so the 1950 census, if you're looking at this, this came from the National Archives, the United States National Archives, free to use. Just got to make sure that you give them credit. And this shows me the enumeration district, we call it the ED map, and this will show me the town, which is this tiny, tiny little dot, but it gives me a little bit of information. And the reason why this was important to me is because I want to focus on the 1950 census for this town. There were not street names before this. There was only like 1 or 2 highways. There were not street names. So I'm still struggling because in the 1950 census, it says dirt road. So I linked to the census right underneath the map. And then this table there's 12 pages on the 1950 census. This is only partial. This is sheet 9. And I need to link this better. And that's sheet 10. You can get it from Ancestry and Family Search as well. But I'm going to show you a trick. And if you do not like AI, close your eyes, because this is going to be an AI trick. And it's very, very simple to use. I've got 12 pages of families. I could do this manually, and I have done it manually for my other space pages, my study pages. So I'm going to come over here. There's easier ways to do this, and I will tell you, Rob with Sorcerer is working on something too. So I just downloaded one page from Family Search. Or Ancestry. You can do Ancestry or Family Search. And what I did is I said, could you please create a wiki table? I want a border of 2. I want columns for address, name, relationship, race, sex, marital status, birth, and occupation. And then each family on this page should have a separate table. I don't want them all lumped together. I want them in a separate table. Should have a separate table, and also include a summary. If I uploaded all the pages, it would take about 30-40 minutes, and it would do it for everybody. And it would give me a summary of the average ages, the average male versus female. Remember we saw Trisha's where she had it? She went and data mined that. I'm just going to use ChatGPT. So I'm going to click the button and let's see what happens. If you've got a really bad handwriting, it's not going to work. I'll just warn you now. So it's going to analyze it. It's going to work. It's going to look it up. And remember, the key was to create a wiki table. I don't know if you're like me. Wiki tables are fantastic, but I just don't like creating them. And then I see, and I agree, Claude AI, this is just ChatGPT. Any of your AIs should work with that.
A question while this is going, Denise wanted to know if they don't think they have the AKA on their existing one-place study, how can they request that we add that?
Just reach out to one of us, and we will do it. We should probably do an audit and add it. We just have been a little busy behind the scenes doing this, and this is like let me see if I can upload this again, because this should have came up by now. But you could just read, if you're on Discord as well, I'm on Discord, Donna's on Discord, Jeffrey's on Discord, you can hit us up, or in the One Place Study Discord. You can say, here's my information. Oh no, so as soon as I start to do something else, it does it. So it said, I pulled what's legible from the page and grouped everybody by household. A few names were faint or unwritten. So this is why I always say AI is a tool. It's not a fact. You got to still double check it and make sure that everything's right. And below is the markup. I always do a border of 2 because it gives it that nice black line around. And you know what? All I gotta do is copy this code. And then I can come over to my space page, to my 1950 census, and I'm just going to put it down below here and paste it in. And I have the information here. I did not create a table. I did not really have to manually type. If you're like me, sometimes I type too fast. I will mess up the names, things like that. And then now the hard part. You got to go either create these profiles or find them on WikiTree. This is easy for a small town. Yeah.
That is a great tip, though.
It's easy for small town, but I would still fix this up like it did. I didn't ask it correctly. It depends what your prompt is. I didn't ask it correctly. So I would tell it to give me the street name, maybe a street number and name. So it would put it here, but it gives me, I like it per family, so then I can research it per family. And then that, ladies and gentlemen, would be my biggest tip. In that would end my talking. Any questions? And again, I will list all those study pages on the GGG posts that you got to get in here. If you have any questions about starting one, reach out to Jeffrey, Donna, or I, or go to our join post and join and create a space page. If you got questions about how to create something, a box, or add an image or something like that, or the AKA, just reach out to us, or Discord. I think all 3 of us like Discord the best, right?
I think
It's
she is.
easiest.
Yeah.
April has her question up. Did she have a question? Or maybe she's
Hey,
gone now.
hey, Sandy.
Yes,
I've got to
ma'am.
run, but I was going to give a suggestion, another one, because you know me, I have 2. I have a one place and I have a one name. So don't be afraid to combine the 2 of them. So mine is Finsterwald in Germany, where my grandmother's entire family with the surname Kutschmar, who are into music. And so I am combining the 2 of them. So just a suggestion for anybody out there that wants to not only do one, they can also do a name place also and combine the 2 of them together.
It just remember one thing, because you reminded me, that was a great suggestion. Remember when I said some people don't like one place study stickers? Some people don't like one name stickers. Both have categories.
Right. Right. But you can combine, like my entire family. I have 2 sets of families that I'm trying to connect, but they're all from the same village in Germany. And so I have both lines. I haven't gotten anything uploaded yet because I've got a big notebook, but I've got 2 lines. They're going to be in my name place, but they were all in my one place. So I'm going to end up having the 2 linked together between the place and the name. And so people can do that too.
And since we're talking about stickers, Azure created a very, very short YouTube, because you know some of us have custom stickers, the custom graphics. Azure created a very, very short YouTube that you can watch, and it shows you exactly how to change the sticker. When you first get into it, you might seem difficult, but it's not. It's very easy. If you have any questions or any problems, just reach out to us and we can help you, or we can add the graphic yourself. 2 years ago, we had a create a graphic for one place study, and a few of you in here took advantage of that. So if you have any questions about what to use, or can you add it, watch Azure's YouTube, or just reach out to us.
One more quick thing too. Someone who had to leave requested if you could link, when you give the links for the one place studies, you also give some of those examples that you gave, because they want to relook at some of those that you highlighted.
Those
so when and maybe in Discord and on the G2G.
That sounds good. I'm glad you
Okay.
mentioned that. That sounds good, putting it
Yeah.
on Discord. Here's the G post. I will put it as a comment since it's up top. Please don't respond to the comment though, because we'll hide them afterwards because we can't respond to you on a comment very easily. We can, but it's not easy. But this is a G that I'm going to put the links up for those particular one place studies. Most of them I think are open, so you can kind of what I call check behind the hood and see what their code is. But I would definitely do GGG. Thank you, Donna.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put
Matthias?
Azure's link too on GGG.
Oh, good. Yeah. Did Matthias have a comment or question?
Question, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening. It's good morning here where I am. I'm fairly new to the whole thing, to WikiTree, and definitely the one location studies. But quite I'm not new to family research. I've invested most of my stuff at Family Search, so there's a huge amount of stuff there and hundreds and thousands of relatives. But what is the workflow? Like, I haven't got any profiles that I set up at all on WikiTree yet. So, but I'm interested in a particular place, and I have an idea for a very small one, and I'll have a look around if anyone else is already there. But like, is the workflow like you're setting up something and you find a source of some sort, but the person that's mentioned in there is not on WikiTree? So is that acceptable or okay that you then create this person and try and attach it to the rest of WikiTree, or do they still exist? Or they should they already exist? Should all these people already exist before you're actually endeavoring an OPS?
Well, I think it could be a combination. I like to put the people's name, like I mentioned, you showed the census that I just put up for the one I have. I don't know if those people are on WikiTree or not yet, but I like to list their names because it gives me kind of a to-do list. So I can either go look for them and link them in that table or create profiles for them. And I'm glad that you mentioned a great question, the workflow. I do have a starter checklist and I will add that to the project page that kind of starts you from the very beginning. But what it also does is tell you what to do. So your core research, your vital records, create the study, look at the study, add the profiles, collaborate if you want, add the sticker. So I've got a workflow document that I just need to fine tune it a bit. It's not as fine tuned. And I will put it up on the one place study, but I'll also let you know that it's up there once I fine tune it, because that's a great question. We kind of get lost in the details that what is the workflow and what is acceptable.
One quick thing on that too. I just put a link to a space page that I created for the 1865 census for the place study that I am doing. So I extracted all the data to Excel and then created a table, a wiki table. And I've been going through and adding everybody to the category.
Yeah.
But then I link them to the table here so that I can see visually which places I've hit and which places I haven't. So as I go through families, I'll add them, and you'll notice like some of the people are missing. So there's two different households in that same uh, place, and I've got the first family done, but not the second family. And so if for a connect-a-thon or something, I can go to this and be like, boom, I've got my people, and I just start adding the ones that are missing.
I love that idea. I love a one place study in the Connect-a-thon together.
Yeah, it works for me. And I've done this for the 1801 census and the 1865 census. So I've got two kind of middle points. So I'm not working on like super crazy pre-1700 while I'm trying to I have to be in a right frame of mind for that. It's harder to read the records.
Not as fast, maybe, to get them
Definitely
on.
not as fast.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to see at a glance, okay, I've already got these people. And when I started my study, there were probably, I don't know, in the location category itself, there were probably already a couple hundred people before I decided to do it. And so I started with the people that were already there and was like, okay, so they're missing kids or they're missing spouses or whatever. And then I just kind of branched out.
I think that's great. I love the colors too.
And I think a big thing about getting your own workflow for a one place study is what is your goal with it? You know, if your
Right.
goal is to help you connect, find more family members for your family, then your goal might be different than someone who's trying to figure out how the neighboring one fits. You know, there's lots of different things that motivate starting with people, or whether you're starting with sources for the location, or you know what your specific goal is.
Yeah. And everybody's going to have a different kind of way they look at things. And that's a great thing because we're not all the same, but it all works.
Yeah, it does.
It makes interesting studies for me as I tiptoe through them. And remember, every Wednesday on G2G, if you're following the tag One Place Studies, every Wednesday we it's random. But if you have an event coming up for your study and you want to jump the line or anything like that, let us know and we can profile yours. But when we do a One Place Study of the week, it gets out to all the social media. So other people can see it and maybe contact you as well as those on G2G. And that's how I see what kind of Donna and Jeffrey mentioned. They're all different. Any other questions? We're all set. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. I appreciate you guys. For those of you that are watching after the fact, because of the hours of this did not match, thank you for watching and hanging in there. If you have any questions, if you want, the quickest way to contact us is Discord, through our Discord channel. If you are a badged One Place Study member, then you have access to the Discord channel. If not, we are in the general chat of Discord. I highly recommend you join Discord. It's like instant answers. Almost anybody can answer. If we're not there, there are tons of One Place Study people that have probably been through your situation that can answer or jump in and help. And if otherwise, please just reach out to us through the WikiTree mail system by going to our profile and clicking on that little envelope icon and send us a message and we'll try and help. And I hope we get a lot of people to sign up for studies. I'm going to drop the link one more time. Hold on, let me give it. Just remember, click the answer button and tell us the location and we can set your study up. We're fast, but we're not speedy, I guess, because we do need to research it a little bit and make sure that everything is there, that the categories behind the scenes are there. We put a ton amount of code in. Alesh has built in templates for us that has a lot of code into it. So it does take a little bit to create those categories and that sticker for you. Other than that, thanks everybody for joining and thanks for being part of the project.